right. Good afternoon. I am currently standing outside of the Korean National Museum, and I made a mistake. I was walking around the outside of this place because there's like this huge garden. There's actually even more garden that I haven't even seen yet. And I was walking around because it was just so pretty. And my assumption was the place is free, so you could just walk in and out, no problem. There is a problem because of COVID, and this makes sense. This is a problem that they're trying to solve, right? COVID is the problem that they're trying to solve, not the reservation system that I wasn't aware of. So you have to reserve your tickets. So I reserved my tickets for 5:30 in the afternoon. It's currently 3. So I'm going to try to go over to the Korean War Museum and see if I could get in there. If that's not possible, I might just come back and walk around the gardens a little bit more. Or I'll just head on back towards the house and try to find something closer to home and go do something in that area, and then come back like tomorrow at an earlier time, put in my reservation and do it that way. It's also supposed to rain a little bit later this week, so I might actually just, if I don't do it today, then I might just do it the day that it rains and just come and spend the day at the museum. I mean, that's just a great idea, right? So we'll check back in a moment. Either I'll be at this museum or the next. Yeah, we'll make that its own video, and then if I come back to this one, we'll make it its own video as well. Yeah, we'll check back in a moment. Good afternoon. It is a little after 5, like 5:10, almost 5:20. I am in a rush to get back to other museum, the National Korea Museum, because my appointment is actually at 5:30. Just in case. I stopped to take a cell phone photo of that. I am currently at the War Memorial Museum, which, as you can see from the statue that I just showed you, is quite awesome. Actually, it's really amazing. They did an excellent job. It is totally worth coming and spending your time here. I actually spent about 2 hours here, and it was so easy to get in. There was actually no one there. Here's the irony. It takes about half an hour to get here, or an hour's walk. So I took a train, which I'm walking to now, because literally right there behind me, that's the National Museum of Korea. But they have it all locked off because of Corona. And because of that, you have to walk all the way around, like the entire structure, and there's no straight street. It's not a complaint, it's more along the lines of that's why I'm rushing. It totally makes sense. And I should have set up this Soul bicycle thing, because I think I could have gotten there faster if I would have just set it up. And there's actually bikes right here, and you could just hop on, hop off. They're just like the whatever Uber bikes or whatnot, and you could just hop on and just ride. And I think it would have actually been faster, because right now I don't know if I'm still gonna make my train or not. I dilly-dallied, I guess you could say, because I wanted to take a photo of that statue, or I wanted to take a photo of the outside of the building. And although this check-in's just to say that I'm walking away from the War Museum, I'll be back in a moment to actually talk about the War Museum. I want to see if I could actually get into the regular museum first. If I can, then I'll film there and do stuff there as well. And then I'll come back to this, probably during dinner time. Anyhow, I'm getting kind of uncomfortable walking around without my mask on. So I'll check back in a moment. Good evening. I am currently at the National Korean Museum, or National Museum of Korea. And not gonna lie, I'm pretty tired. I got in the second time. I was a bit late, but it's okay because the ticket seemed to have been between 5:30 and 6, and I got here at 5:50ish, so that ended up being okay. When I was coming in, I had to go through security, and I noticed that somewhere between the War Memorial Museum and the National Museum, I lost my gorilla pod, my Joby gorilla pod. it was on my backpack. I thought I had it secured on. And I guess while I was rushing over here, it must have fallen off and I didn't hear it. That's the weird thing, is that I didn't hear it fall off my backpack. So that kind of blows. Particularly because I've only used it a few times. It was practically new, so I hope someone finds it and uses it rather than throw it away. Or if I find it along the way back on my path back towards the house, maybe, that'd be awesome. It's just a bummer, but I'm here at the National Museum, and it's fantastic. I thought I was gonna have to pay like $3 to get into either this museum or the War Memorial Museum, but that's not true of either. They're both free, absolutely. I'll do another video for the War Memorial. I actually have like some running away from the War Memorial that maybe that footage will have me dropping the gorilla pod in it. But since I'm here, the first floor here is basically like prehistoric type stuff. They also go into... I tried to find a quiet corner, but if people are going to walk by, I'm going to put my mask on. It's just the polite thing to do. But like I was saying, the first floor is prehistoric stuff, as well as a lot of history and of the culture and everything that is here. Like, a lot of it was pottery, metallurgy, weaponry, and it was actually very similar to what was at the War Museum, if anything. And so I kind of just walked through it quite quickly. I've been here for 2.5 hours now. Maybe a little less than that. Maybe 1 hour 45 is probably a better association, because it's about 7:30, I think. I'm gonna have a late dinner tonight. Oh no, it's about 8 o'clock. So got here about 5:50, so 8 o'clock. So it's been about 2 hours, and I've literally gone through everything. The first floor was easy to get through real quick because I've seen most of it. The second floor, again, was not all that bad, but it had like calligraphy, and the way they sort things here is actually really good. So like everything leads into the next thing quite well. Probably, yeah, even with the top floor, which I'm currently sitting at, I figured this would be the least amount of people. But I forgot that they're open a lot later on Saturdays than they are on the week, during the week. So, and I forgot today was Saturday, so I thought they were going to close earlier. But the second floor went into like all the like cultural type deals, like Buddhism and how religion and trade worked. And it really did a in-depth job of looking at everything that happens here in Korea, like learning about the Three Kingdoms, how the place was segregated. One of the really interesting things that I learned about Buddhism, at least here in Korea, was that their Buddha statues look different, and the reason why is because as the ages moved, they got their influences from for Buddha from different places. And because it changed, like the very early ones, there's this awesome photo that I took, I think, that might come out, and it's of this kind of midget looking Buddha, and it's because that's their original idea of what he looks like. And so they were able to kind of change his look over time as they got influences from whether it be India or China or Tibet. And as that changed, it changed the way he looks. And that was really cool. Now this top floor is all like world type stuff. Now some of it was kind of repeated because like when I saw the stuff from China, it was pretty much exactly the same as the stuff that was in a lot of the history of Korea. Like learning about Korea's warfare, it looks like Korea, aside from the civil war that they had, they either fought a lot with China or Japan. There's this whole section on just like the war with Japan and how like Japan took over a good chunk of it, and then they got reinforced by China. Japan used the threat of trying to get the Koreans to fight the Chinese with them as a precursor to being able to invade Korea. And that's what they did. They invaded Korea. It was really interesting to learn kind of how everything worked out. The Koreans finally kind of partnered up with the Ming dynasty, and they pushed the Japanese out. And then after Ieyasu Tokugawa, can't remember which shogunate, after he died, the next shogun after him commanded that all Japanese leave Korea and come back to Japan. That's kind of how it ended. And if I remember from my Japanese history at all, the whole reason why the shogun at the beginning wanted to fight here in Korea was so that there'd be peace in Japan, which that's ironic, but it is a thing, right? You send all your soldiers away so that they could fight someone else and not themselves or with each other. And so, but it's really interesting to see it from the Korean point of view, and it's really just different. The way that they fought, how they had a technological advantage at the very beginning, and then the Koreans had a huge advantage in using their turtle boats. It was a different type of warship that the Japanese weren't prepared for. It was actually covered. And then they also had a new type of shell, projectile, that they would shoot from their cannons, which would explode, and the Japanese weren't ready for that either. That being said, you now come back to the third floor here that I'm on, and it starts off with the Middle East, that part of the world, and Asia, and then it moves over to India and Southeast Asia, and then these things I kind of just glanced over. Oh, and very late, I noticed that each one of these halls, when you go in, they have a symbol to let you into the hall, and it kind of has it makes a face, and it's pretty cute. They're pretty good. I just noticed at the very end. Anyhow, from Southeast Asia and India, it goes into China, which that's literally a repeat of what was downstairs for the most part, the pottery and the calligraphy and all that. And then it goes to Japan, which was interesting because they did a little bit of a different thing. They did a lot of stuff with the samurai, and how the samurai brought art. So, for example, it went from the samurai swords and the outfits to then calligraphy and tea ceremony, things that they were known for, which have some good footage of. Finally, it goes into world ceramics, because it really does this huge portion on how Chinese ceramics, China, has really changed the world at that time. And it was really cool to see all the different things that were created, then were shipped from the Dutch East India Company. And so it was a neat look at all the different items that were used, and then how they shipped them over there, and then how Europe actually kind of copied it and created their own version of China. So overall, it's this place is free, and I mean the 2 hours that I've been here or so have definitely been worth it. It's been a very interesting type of experience, and I'm glad that I'm here. Now the War Museum, the War Memorial Museum, I actually might go back to, because I think I missed a huge portion of the actual Korean War part. But I'm gonna look into that online and see if I did, because it looked like it was more of a war memorial for the rest, everything else that was happening. There was bits and pieces about the Korean War and World War II and stuff like that. But there was a lot more about what they were doing after that. So Vietnam War, how the UN is helping out throughout the world and whatnot. So anyhow, I'm talking about another video at this time. So we will go ahead and check back in. Or I guess, no, this is where this video is gonna end. I'm gonna go grab dinner. I'm starving and tired, so. All right, until the next video, peace.